Hello, everybody, and welcome at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery. We are at the 3 p.m. Milk feeding time, ready the milk, waiting for the baby elephants to join us anytime from now. We're right inside Nairobi National Park, and the elephants will spend the day out in the park from 6 in the morning, always in the company of the keepers. We set them free out in the park every day so that they can learn by natural instinct on how to behave as elephants, browsing around, playing around, feeding, or sometimes having a nap if they want. They're always accompanied by the keepers to provide protection whenever it is needed. We feed them on intervals of 3 hours day and night, and that's why at 3 p.m. it is one of the feeding times. If you're joining us today for the first time, the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is a project that was started officially back in the year 1977 after the death of David Sheldrick, who was a naturalist and the senior founder warden of the Large Savannah National Park. He died in 1977, and this project was started in his memory under the management of the widow, who is now the late Dr. Dame Daphne Sheldrick, who's been running the project since then until 2 years ago, when she passed on, leaving the mandate to her daughter Angela Sheldrick, who was running the project together with the mother for about 17 years before the mother passed on. Right now, the project is under the management of Angela Sheldrick. And so we take care of orphan baby elephants and rhinos, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. And that's why all the babies that are going to join us today are orphans. They all have been rescued from different parts of the country with different reasons for being orphans. And since something happened to them when they are still young, it is obvious that they would not have survived. An elephant needs the mother's milk for the first 2 years minimum. So if they happen to lose the mothers when they're below 2, it is obvious that they cannot survive. And that's why we rescue them, so that we can hand rear them here in the nursery for approximately 3 years. Anytime after the age of 3, we'll start to reintroduce all the elephants back into the wild, and we'll always reintroduce them to Tsavo East National Park and Kibwezi Forest, a process that takes them a minimum of about 5 years before they start to make friends among the wild herds, who will later on invite them and adopt them in their families. And once they all get adopted, then we set them free and let them become wild once again. That process takes a long period because it depends on the different characters of different elephants. It depends on the reasons that have caused them to be left orphans, and also depends with their age when they became orphans. But we set them in a wild environment within Tsavo Conservation Area. The keepers will always just follow them behind and see the reaction between our orphans and the wild herds. Sometimes the wild families will invite them and so spend the day together. Sometimes the wild families will ignore them, the wild families will reject them, and sometimes the wild families will invite them, and so they spend the day together. So every day they go out, and every evening they come back. And after a long period, the relationship between the two becomes a strong bond. They stop to come back at our base in the evening. They want to stay with the new wild friends, and we let them go. We say we've achieved our target, because the main target here is to rescue them, hand rear them, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. So the elephants will be joining us now. We've got a group of 5 of them already on the way, coming to join us, being led by Nabulu, who is the second in command in the nursery at the moment. We've got a total of 11 elephants, and Nabulu is the second in command. She's the second oldest female. She's approximately 3 years. She was rescued from the Masai Mara, and she was identified all alone within the park at an age of below a year old. Very thin and weak, a sign that she was an orphan, a sign that she had not had her mother's milk for some time, and so that's why we rescued her. Behind Nabulu, we've got the main matriarch, an elephant by the name Maisha, slightly over 3 years, who actually takes control of all the 11 elephants in the nursery. Maisha was rescued from Tsavo Conservation Area. She is a drought victim. The mother is believed to have died from starvation due to drought, and that's why she was left alone. On my left, we've got Rojo, the youngest boy, and the overall second youngest, approximately almost 16 months. And Rojo was rescued from Savo West National Park. The mother is believed to have been killed by poachers, and that's why Rojo was left alone at about 7 months. Right now, he's approximately almost 16 months and adjusting well, being everyone's favorite in the nursery. In terms of the big females, they're always interested in taking care of him and protecting him and running around after him. We do have Mactau at the far end, 2.5 years. And Mactau was rescued from Sava Conservation Area, found in a community all alone at the age of about 3 months, suspected to have been separated from his family by human beings, and so is a victim of human wildlife conflict. He was only 3 months when he came in the nursery. Right now, 2.5 years, and the second oldest boy that we've got in the nursery. And this is after Kiombo. On my right, I've got Ziwadi, who is approximately 2 years, who was rescued from the Masai Mara, identified all alone, suspected to have been abandoned or left behind by the rest of the family members. And we made this suspicion because when she came in the nursery, she's never been keen on following the rest of the group. She's either being left behind or going the opposite direction. And later on, we discovered that she's epileptic. Once she goes into seizures, she's left behind. And that's why we suspect it might have been the reasons to why she was found all alone without the mother or the rest of the family members. We put her on medication. She's been adjusting well and improving. We expect her to be back to normal when it is time ready for her to go back into the world. Another group of 5 joining us again, being led by Mukoka. And Mukoka is approximately 2 years old. Mukoka was rescued from northern part of Savo East National Park, a place called Idumba. Identified all alone by aerial surveillance on patrol who found the baby alone within the park. Tried to observe him for some time, hoping for the mother to come back and collect Mukoka, but none existed, which meant that he was an orphan, and that is the reason to why we rescued him. Next to me is an elephant by the name Naboishu. The latest arrival that we've got in the nursery, approximately 18 months, having been rescued from the Masai Mara. The mother believed to have died from a natural disease. And right behind me is the youngest that we've got in the nursery. And the overall youngest, an elephant by the name Naleku, approximately 12-month old, 1 year, having been rescued from the Masai Mara. Also, the mother having died from a natural disease. And that's why Naleku was alone. She was about 7 months when she came in. Right now, she's approximately a year old. And adjusting well, a very young, independent elephant. She's the youngest we've got, but she's not keen on being taken care of. She's not keen on looking for the big females. She wants to do her own things. And that's why I say the youngest, but very independent. We do have Laro right here, and Laro is about 2 years old. Laro was rescued from the Masai Mara. She was identified all alone, Laro Conservancy, and suspected to have been separated from her family by human beings. And now the last one joining us is an elephant by the name Kiasa. I want to believe you know why she's coming in last, because if she comes in the beginning, after her milk, she wants to get extra milk from the other elephants or the keepers by force. Kiasa is approximately 3 years old. She's an elephant with a mixed reaction or mixed character. She was rescued from Sava Conservation Area near a place called Kiasa, and the mother is believed to have died from starvation due to drought, and that's why she was left alone. When she came in the nursery, she was always known as the naughtiest elephant around, fighting everyone around, including the bigger ones, and even not having respect for the keepers. But after the arrival of Rojo, the bad character changed to a motherly figure elephant. She was very interested in taking care of Rojo and reduced bad character in her. Though, when it is feeding time, She's a no-nonsense elephant. She wants some milk. She doesn't know who is in front of her. She will fight or push everyone to make sure that she gets what she wants. And at the same time, she's got strong maternal instincts. We expect her to be the main matriarch when Maisha and Nabulu will have left the nursery, because she's already shown signs of being a good mother, despite the greediness during feeding time. That is all the 11 elephants that we've got in the nursery, all under our care for the first 3 years. And after 3 years, we take them to serve a conservation area where we reintroduce them to different groups of wild elephants. A process that will take them a minimum of about 5 years before they start to make friends among the wild herds, who will later on invite them and adopt them in their families. Once they all get adopted, we set them free and let them become wild once again. You might have realized that they're all concentrated on the greens. Actually, when they're out in the park, they've got a variety to feed on. And when they come here, we've cut some greens for them as well. And this is the most favorite of the elephants within Nairobi National Park. It is from the Griwa family of leaves. And that's why you can see everybody is concentrating on the greens. Despite the fact that it is warm enough, we expect them to go into the mud and play and roll in the mud, but they all want to feed. And in the nursery, we don't train these elephants on doing specific things. We let them do what they want to do, because later on we set them free. And if we train them, nobody will be training them out in the world. We want them to have a natural life like any other elephant out there. And that's why we let them do what they want. If it is feeding, if it is rolling in the mud, if it's dusting, they do what they want. We follow them, observe and see and help where we need to. You can see at a very young age, Naleku already knows how to use the trunk to get the dust and throw on her back. Being assisted by the keeper and being shown what to do, she already knows how to do it. Elephants will start to use the trunk at the age of about 8 months. That is when they can perfectly suck water in the trunk, bend the trunk, and blow it into the mouth. And Naleku is about a year old now. And that's why when the keeper throws the dust on her back, she also wants to do it, getting the dust and throwing it on her back by herself. Well, a bully, Kiombo, showing wants to actually let us know that he's the oldest bull, trying to bully everyone around, which is not a good character for Kiombo. Kiombo, you have to behave. Maisha was far away when that happened. She should have intervened, but she was at a different direction. So if you're joining us now, we are at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust with the 11 baby elephants, having had their bottles now and enjoying the browse, feeding around, and some of them perfectly using the trunk to get the greens and put in the mouth. The little ones learning what is happening. You can see there Aroho trying to put the trunk in Maktau's mouth, trying to see what Maktau is feeding on. That is how the young ones will learn what they need to feed on, by putting their trunk in the mother's mouth to know what the mother is having, and then they get to learn what they need to feed on as well. And as we've always said, the character of elephants, or most behaviors in elephants, are instinct. They just need direction and they know what to do. And that is why you can see little Naleku over there with branches of greens, and also little Roho here wandering around trying to look on what she wants. is already being shown what to do with the dust. We want to see if she'll also want to do it by herself. Yes, trying to do it from the big dust pile. Mukoka next to me trying to dust bath himself, getting the mud and throwing it on his body. Lara next to the water hole, maybe she might be the first one to get into the water. But already Mukoka enjoying it on the other side. It is warm enough for the elephants to roll in the mud. We've had some days, it's a week or more than a week without the rains, and so that is why we believe at some point they might be able to get water and cool themselves. So if you're joining us now, we are at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery, taking care of orphan baby elephants and rhinos, and later on setting them free back into the wild. And the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust is working together with the Kenya Wildlife Service to ensure that all animals are safe in the parks. And that is why we've got other projects that are being managed or done by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. For example, we've got the mobile veterinary units, we got the anti-poaching teams, we got the community projects, we got the aerial surveillance, we got the dog unit. All that is being done within Sava Conservation Area to ensure that all animals are set free and safe out in the parks. Our mobile veterinary units are all over. We also have a sky vet that will fly to an area where the cars cannot patrol easily and get to treat any injured animal within the park. Not necessarily elephants and rhinos alone, but any other animal that has been found out there with any injury. So that is why we are very happy to work together with the Kenya Wildlife Service for the good of these animals. We do have Naleku rolling down already, and Mukoka on the other side. Nabulu standing next to Mukoka, seeing how Mukoka is enjoying. She wants to do it as well. They always are afraid to start, but once they start, they really enjoy it. Naleku loves the water is just to cool them, especially when it is hot, and it also protects them from being bitten by some insects. And it is fun for them. They enjoy doing it. They like doing it. Just like little kids want to play with the water and the mud and the dust at home. So if you're joining us now, we are at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery, taking care of orphan baby elephants and rhinos, and later on setting them free back into the wild. The elephants spend all the day out in the park. They come back for bed at 5. We feed them on intervals of 3 hours. We brought them here for the 3 p.m. milk feed. Let them enjoy the mud and the browse if they want, or a pile of dust if they want to play with. And all these babies are orphans. They've been orphaned from different parts of the country, and they have different reasons for being orphans. Some of them, the mothers have been killed by poachers due to trade in ivory, and some of them have been separated from their families by human beings, what we call human-wildlife conflict, which is really on increase in Kenya due to increase in the population of man or human beings compared to the space or size of land, causing conflicts every now and then between wild animals of the communities neighboring the parks and the reserves. A few of them are orphans from natural reasons like old age, natural diseases, and starvation back into the wild. So if anything happens to them and they are below the age of 2, we have to come in and help rescue them, hand raise them here before setting them free back into the wild. It is unfortunate that all these reasons are causing these babies to be left orphans. And I'm saying it's unfortunate because we as human beings have the responsibility to protect and care for all animals. We need to ensure their safety out in the wild. And so we need to understand that they also have the right to life, just like we do. And that's why it is important that we get to set them free. We get to help them have the natural life out in the world. And that is what we're doing here in the nursery before they are set free among the wild families who will completely take care of them. Nabulu rolling down in the mud at the edge of the waterhole, together with the Laro. Getting in slowly by slowly, and Makta also joining them at the end. Oh, Naboishu right in the middle. In front of Lara is Naboishu. Ziwadi at the edge here, also enjoying the mud, close to Nabulu. Makta already in now. Everybody feeling happy with the mud around. When they get a little water on the body, it feels itchy and they want to roll around and cool themselves and make sure that they are covered in the mud all around. That is why we've got everybody actually trying to do something with the mud and the water. It was all started by Mukoka here. Naboishu and Laro trying to dust themselves. Rojo right on the ground. So I'd like to take this opportunity and thank everybody who's joined us for this live milk feed at 3 p.m. in Nairobi Nursery with the baby elephants at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for supporting us, because it is because of your help and support that we're able to do this. And we only urge you to continue staying safe, because we all need to be safe from wherever we are. We'll continue to do our best in terms of taking care of the elephants and all other animals to ensure that they have a better life out in the world, not being interrupted by human beings, having the normal natural life out, ensuring that all the snares are put off, ensuring that poaching is not taking place. And we are happy that in our country the trend of poaching is going down, and so we do appreciate that, and we want that to continue so that we don't have poaching completely, so that these animals can only die from a natural death and not because somebody is interested in their ivory, in their skin, or in the meat or such like things. So thank you very much, everybody. We will set the elephants free out in the park to continue with the rest of the day until at 5 in the evening, when they come back for bed and spend the night in the rooms. And we bring them to spend the night in the rooms because open in Nairobi National Park, we got other animals like the lions and the hyenas, which might be a bit dangerous for the baby elephants. That's why they have to be protected and spend the night in an enclosed room. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll be bringing you more live videos on Monday.